Right now on Up with KREM, tracking the risk for high winds and dust storms today. I have an hour-by-hour forecast of when the worst of the winds will impact the region.
I'm so tired of your liberal BS. Go back to where you came from.
A North Idaho senator under fire after alleged racist remarks at a forum in Kendrick. We hear from both sides.
You got to do it the right way. The ball comes alive when you play the right way on defense.
The Seahawks are kicking off on KREM 2, the team finishing up preparations for this weekend's game against the New York Giants. We hear from head coach Mike McDonald and Geno Smith about the upcoming matchup.
Good morrow. We are at the 2024 Renaissance Fair. We've got live details and live reports for you all morning long, so get tuned in and sharpen those swords.
Up with KREM begins now.
Good morrow. Happy Friday. Good morrow means what again?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah,
that's right. Hey, friends, it's good to see you. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Channing Curtis. Good morrow to you all. Thanks so much for joining us.
Say.
It is. It's a great way to start off your day by saying good morrow. Good morrow, Thomas.
Good morrow to the lovely lady and gentleman on the desk.
Oh,
am I getting into the theme? Of course, we got the Renaissance Fair stuff.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. Yeah. What a way to start out a Friday, everyone. And I know it's a little bit cool as we would expect on an October morning, but today is going to be an important weather day, so we don't want to delay to that information at all. Wind advisories and blowing dust advisories issued for most of central and eastern Washington for today because our wind gusts are going to be between 40 and 50 miles per hour for this afternoon. Those alerts go from 2 to 7 o'clock for today. So just make sure that you are aware that these wind speeds are going to increase in a big way as this storm system, the low pressure core, cutting straight eastward, cold front also cutting straight eastward, and that is going to arrive this afternoon in about 6 to 10 hours. So that's what we will be tracking for most for today.
And as you wake up and head out the door, we're taking a live look at I-90 right now, where you could see traffic picking up just a little bit. But of course, when we say traffic, it just means more vehicles on the roads. No major slowdowns right now at this hour. On Up with KREM, we do bring you live weather and traffic together every 30 minutes, so you know what to expect before you head out the door.
This morning, Idaho State Senator Daniel Foreman continues to be called out for a racist remark to a Nez Perce tribal member. It happened at a candidate forum in Kendrick on Tuesday. Now, during the event, Democratic candidate and Nez Perce tribe member Trish Carter Goodhart said she was answering a question about discrimination and legislation. She says before finishing her thought, Senator Foreman yelled, quote, "Go back to where you came from," end quote. Now, our Boise station talked to Goodhart about the remarks.
I basically just stood up and I said, just because this isn't your lived experience does not mean that discrimination and racism don't exist today. And these are, very real experiences of so many Idahoans. And it's not an Idaho issue. It's a national and even global issue.
And what was the response to that?
I didn't even get to finish my sentence. The state senator, Foreman, shot up out of his seat and started, "I'm so tired of your liberal BS. Go back to where you came from."
I'm sure the irony of the phrase "go back to where you're from" is not lost on you.
No, it's very ironic. I'm a very proud member of the Nez Perce tribe here in northern Idaho. This is exactly where I'm from. I was like, in my mind, I was like, yeah, this is exactly where I belong. I have no intention of leaving.
Now, Senator Daniel Foreman responded with a statement on Facebook. He said in part, quote, "Idaho does not practice systemic racism," end quote. Now, Foreman goes on to say when he and another forum attendee told Goodhart there was no systemic racism in Idaho, she, quote, "flew into a rage and shouted at me that you people don't know what you're talking about because you're not Native American," end quote. Then, according to Foreman, he told Goodhart that he is Native American because he was born in America. Now, you can find Foreman's full statement and more on this story right now on our website, KREM.com.
I used to be shocked when there was an overdose, and now it feels like it's just like, oh, there's another overdose.
The U.S. Attorney's Office arrested 17 people in connection with a drug trafficking ring that led to the death of multiple Lumi Nation members. They are accused of distributing fentanyl to members of the tribe. 13 people were arrested here in Washington state, some of them connected to an organized criminal group that allegedly dealt drugs around Western Washington.
And there's not a community I visit that does not talk about the devastation that fentanyl has done to their communities. This poison has harmed their children, their families, their communities, and nowhere is that more felt than in our Native communities. The disproportionate effect of fentanyl overdose deaths and fentanyl on our Native communities is really horrifying.
The U.S. Attorney's Office says this group distributed more than 800,000 fentanyl pills across the United States. Over the course of the investigation, authorities seized another 846,000 pills, which is nearly 14 kilograms or 30 pounds of fentanyl powder and cocaine, as well as 29 firearms.
Well, starting January 1st, a new Idaho law could save money for pharmacies and their patients. House Bill 596 forces pharmacy benefit managers, also known as PBMs, to be more transparent with practices. Representative Jordan Redmond sponsored the bill. He says it would ultimately cut costs for state residents.
One, create lower prescription costs for every Idahoan, as well as allow access to care and patient care. Most of these pharmacists were, again, losing money to dispense a drug or getting an average of 10 cents to dispense a drug.
Redmond says the goal of the bill is to ensure long-term sustainability among pharmacies and to give patients affordable access to care.
In our Boomtown series, we track growth in our region. 425 new homes are coming to Latah Valley. The future Marshall Creek Estates is about 121 acres located west of the Eagle Ridge community. This comes during the city's one-year moratorium for any new projects in the Latah Valley area, which went into effect this spring. The moratorium excludes applications already submitted, so the new development got the green light. Now, the developer must build a roundabout on Cheney-Spokane Road.
Well, after shutting down for the entire year, the Spokane Fire Department is now getting ready to reopen their fire academy in January. The fire academy is an expensive proposition at $750,000. Spokane Fire Chief Julie Oberg says the decision for it to be cut was due to the $50 million budget deficit. She says the community safety sales tax on the ballot this November is needed for first responders in Spokane. The sales tax will be $1 for every $1,000 spent, excluding necessities like food, prescription drugs, or rent.
We felt comfortable this year that our numbers were healthier so that we could manage our overtime budget without it getting completely out of control and take 1 year away from Academy, and then we'll pick back up in 25.
Oberg says the Fire Academy training being cut this year is not a setback, but hopes the proposal will pass in November.
You have to see this. NASA reported the largest solar flare in 7 years last night. Whoa. So the flare reached Earth yesterday, triggering shortwave radio blackouts over Africa and Europe. The monster flare was pointed directly at us. And Thomas, you've been following this really closely. And what have you noticed about how this has impacted the Northern Lights? Did we get a good view last night?
Yeah, so that's the big question is, did we get the Northern Lights? The answer is no. It ended up not creating any Northern Lights. The KP index, which we use to measure solar storms, was honestly pretty weak last night. I still am holding out hope for tonight and maybe tomorrow night as well, because when we get solar flares, there's usually a 1 to 3 day window where we have that opportunity for the aurora borealis. So maybe give it a shot tonight if you can brave some of the cold and the wind, as the wind should be calming down by later on tonight. The big thing is that we just got to get the clouds out of the way first as our storm system passes through. As for current conditions, obviously it was very clear last night, has left our current temperatures in the 40s and 30s across the inland northwest. Beautiful glow of the upcoming sunrise, still about 45 minutes away here. There are your current temperatures, again, 40s and 30s across the inland northwest, as we are anticipating a decently windy day today with those wind gusts peaking later this afternoon, and we will give you an hour-by-hour breakdown of when those strongest wind gusts are anticipated.
All right, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but we got some TLC going on now for the Bard Corps, and so I'm loving it. We're at the Renaissance Fair. We're talking about all the amazing things happening here this weekend, and I've got more details coming up for you just on the opposite side of this break.